Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Equine Episode Examination. Where Merry Christmas or Happy Heartswarming, everyone. It's
Make this
not even July yet, and
make this a heartwarming Eve.
So yeah, welcome to the show, everyone. Hope you've all had a good weekend and a good beginning of the week here. If this is your first time at an Equine Episode Examination, it's pretty much what it sounds like. We're all going to go through this past weekend's episode, A Heartwarming Tale, and talk about it, give our opinions on it, what we think of it. We'll kind of go through with more general stuff, and story and whatnot, and work into more specific things near the end. So that's kind of how it works out. It's a few of us here in the call, and of course everyone in chat is, of course, very highly encouraged to participate in the discussion, bring up topics of discussion to talk about. Last week was a pretty awesome discussion we had about the Rainbow Dash episode, so thanks to everyone who participated in that last week. This week, if everyone wants to introduce themselves, I'm Rain Shadow.
Ned here.
Hey, someone new. Good to have you.
Well, technically not new because Ned helped me that week you were out, Rain. But anyway, this is Jay Smith.
And I'm a dick.
Yeah, I'm not typically here, but I decided to come in for I don't know what reason. I'll figure it out later.
Actually, I'm Mr. Ben, but who gives a damn? I'm just kidding.
Same difference. So yeah, let me bring the right window up here so I can actually go to the next slide. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about A Heartwarming Tale, which is a few things. It's both a holiday episode that's just based on the nature of how these shows air. It's obviously not airing during the holidays, but it's not going to be the first time. Of course, last season's holiday episode aired the week before Halloween, so its scheduling isn't always the easiest thing, but they do these things just because they can re-air them, of course, in syndication and whatnot during the holidays and all that stuff. Plus, holiday episodes are just kind of sometimes a fun thing to do. So it's both a holiday episode with, again, Heartwarming Eve, as well as this season's musical episode, which, of course, every season so far since season 3 has had a musical episode, and since season 4 we've also had like a secondary musical episode as well. So this is kind of the big musical episode for the season as far as we know. Who knows if there'll be more, but if the past is to go by, that's that. So what's everyone's initial thoughts on A Heartwarming Tale?
Time sure flies fast in Equestria, but then again, maybe we had a gap in months between Cade's pregnancy for them to already be at heartwarming already.
Time makes no sense in that world. It just goes around, I don't know, physics and stuff.
Maybe Flurry Heart had a more drastic effect on the world than we realized.
Tis the season when Celestia decrees it to be.
Exactly, yeah. She's like, the seasons and stuff don't follow, but, laws
yeah,
of
I
physics.
mean, the episodes, although they do have some, light continuity between episodes, especially if it's something to do with the season arc, they don't typically, happen in time in Equestria in order, especially when it comes to the weather or the seasons, which is understandable. That's kind of something hard to kind of tie you down to story-wise, so it's just one of those things you just kind of gotta accept, and something that's normal for this kind of show. Gosh, my initial thoughts. I thought this episode was awesome. I mean, yeah, it's a retelling of course, Charles Dickens' story, which has been a book and musicals and plays and whatnot, and done by every TV show ever in existence. But it was executed really well, tied into the characters really well. And that's kind of like always the thing with the Charles with a Christmas Carol kind of things, that it's more about less about the story, since it's the same story, but how they adapt it and what characters they put in what roles. That's always interesting, and I think that they overall did a good job with that, and it was a highly entertaining episode. So what more can you ask?
Yeah, I thought they had did a good adaptation. The characters they chose for each part are pretty much on spot on and good picks.
To say, I know that I was looking up some stuff here on the behind the scenes stuff, and I saw that they was planning on having like a Jacob Marley parody where Discord would have actually played that role.
Oh.
And that would have been really awesome, but you can only cram so much into like a 22-minute episode, and they just simply didn't have enough time to add him in.
Yeah, that's what Mike Vogel said on Twitter, where it was just too much to add, obviously into a 22-minute, even with it being a musical. That would have been pretty awesome if they were able to. He would just be again just so perfect kind of a character to play Marley.
We must have Discord. He's like, he hasn't been here since season 5. When was his last appearance?
It was the one with Twilight. Gosh, I forget that. But the one where they did like the parody of Bob Ross and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the second half of season 5.
That was it.
I'm assuming that we're not going to see Discord to the second half of this season after the hiatus. Just because if you remember, John DeLance on Twitter had mentioned that he had just finished recording the episode and he didn't think that it was going to air for like another year or so, and that was later in the year last year. And of course, that led to a lot of speculation from a lot of people that season 5 is not going to be a year hiatus before season 6 is going to be a year hiatus before it starts. But it must just mean that particular episode his episodes are going to be in the second half of the season, I'd assume.
Actually, with this episode would have been perfect for also Discord's first Hearthwarming, unless he'd done them before. I don't think he could be the Grinch.
Yeah, but then it would have been, since this episode was about Starlight's first Hearthwarming in Boneyville, it probably would have crammed so much to have it both Discord and Starlight at the same time. So
it would have been nice to have at least seen him in the background, if nothing else, like right at the very end when they had that whole wide shot of pretty much all the characters in the Great Hall.
Yeah, Discord's Jewish.
He doesn't believe.
That would actually make a lot of sense.
It would.
That would just so fit him too.
Anyway, I guess let's go ahead and let's dive into the story and the writing of this episode. Of course, it is the story itself is just the Charles Dickens novel, so pretty standard kind of stuff there. And also, this is, of course, Michael Vogel's first episode writing for the series. He's been a producer, vice president at Hasbro since the beginning of the show, so he's been involved in the show since the beginning. But he left that position to pursue more things and more creative stuff and the writing side of it. So this is his first episode on the other side of the aisle, and with the exception of helping with the development of some of the Rainbow Rocks shorts that happened before Friendship Games. This is his first writing credit of pretty much anything in terms of professional media as well.
He also did a great job.
Say, I do have to admit, I agree with Tim in the chat room where he mentioned that this was a great adaptation of not just A Christmas Carol, but also mixing it with How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And you wouldn't think that this sort of crossover would fit in this sort of setting, especially mixing ponies in with it. But they not only do that, they mix it off, but they pull it off with aplomb. Mm-hmm. Especially with how they match everyone up with their particular roles with the spirit of Christmas past, the spirit of Christmas present, and the spirit of Christmas yet to come. Substituting Hearthwarming for Christmas, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, Luna just freaking killed it with that spirit yet to come. I was actually sort of half expecting Twilight to take that role, but then no, they bring in freaking one of the best princesses anyway.
That was
so
unexpected.
I'll just say that. I mean, especially for kind of a first time out writing. I mean, he did just a fantastic job at adapting the Christmas Carol, because Christmas Carol is a play that when you see it in play form, that lasts a lot longer than 22 minutes, and there's a lot of story to cover even in the play in the time frame that it has for that. So being able to condense that down to 22 minutes, even in the context of a musical episode, which was a good choice to help move the plot along here. It was still a lot to cover in it, and they obviously dropped a lot of stuff out from the original Christmas Carol book and play. Like Marley. There's really nothing focusing on Tiny Tim, which of course had a focus in the play. The whole thing at the end with the Christmas Future was changed. There was a lot of stuff that was cut, but they were able to kind of cut around it in just the right way and kind of just get to the actual core of the story that was able to focus on Snowfall Starlight as a character specifically. Well, and kind of cutting out some of the pork. So they cut out a lot of the original story, but they managed to just get just the core just right to be able to tell that basic story.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel rushed. It didn't seem rushed to me. Normally, you think cramming something that big into 22 minutes you would have to have something feel rushed, but
yeah,
really no.
I think also this is also isn't the first time we've seen a Christmas Carol on the show either. Of course, in this season 4's for Sweetie Belle Toils had that little bit of hilarious enough with Luna as well. Kind of a little more soft homage to A Christmas Carol in Sweetie Belle's dream in that episode, going through her past, present, and future, and Rarity's past, present, and future. Their relationship in that context. Of course, this was a lot more of a straight up parody or retelling of the Christmas Carol compared to that one. I mean, I guess one of the first things I wanted to mention in relation to this episode is, I mean, is there really any other show that you can think of on TV that would be able to pull this kind of thing off, or even like attempt to try and pull this off in terms of
other shows? Probably, yeah. Sorry. Of course, other shows have tried to pull it off, but I don't know. This did it so well. I think because I had good characters to parody.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should add the context that in the form of like a 22-minute like musical episode, and the way that they did it. That's just not something you really see like any other show right now you're doing. Just, I mean, especially like musical episodes, like legitimate musical episodes in general. I mean, it's just the amount of work that that obviously went into this episode, and every stage of production was quite astounding.
Yeah, a lot of work when it showed. Normally, I'm not a fan of musicals, but this was really good, and I kind of really enjoyed everything. I enjoyed even though it was a blatant retelling of its classic story, it was done well, and they honestly did their work, and they honestly showed that this show is still pretty good after 6 seasons, and they still got some quality writers on staff.
Yep, and bringing in new writers too that are just as good.
Oh yeah,
which is insane. Yeah, I mean, it really held down the story really well, and was a good retelling and introduction to that story, for anyone who hadn't heard it before. Given a nice, I mean, that's kind of like the thing with anything that's going to do a Christmas Carol kind of thing is what you do. I mean, what you do with it. I mean, the basic story's there, but what twist you put on it, or how you interweave your characters into it. I think one of the neat things about this episode, in terms of the writing and how they laid it out and how they kind of put their own spin onto it, was how they made it. They made the story here of a heartwarming tale that Twilight's telling, actually like mirror Starlight's like past and present as well, in terms of what she's gone through. And I thought that was just so well pulled off in terms of, yeah, this is Snowfall here that she's telling, but that Twilight's telling the story about. But really, what happened to Snowfall in this story was a lot like what happened to Starlight throughout season 5.
It really was, which I think helped make it more believable. Another parallel to make Snowfall's character being Starlight more believable, since we get the vibes of old season 5 Starlight, and we get the look and feel of old season 5 Starlight, which maybe we'll come to later, but it does help that they used to reform villain like that and parallel it to her story. So it's like, so not only that, in the end, Starlight herself's like, oh, this seems familiar.
Yeah, it's
I
like
don't think I want.
for all those people that were really wanting to see more evil Starlight. Well, there you go.
I was about to say, I like how they did that callback with the main style there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was so good.
That was like actually like the first thing I noticed. Was like, oh wow, they reverted back to the old season 5 higher style. Nice.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it at first until I think you pointed out in chat. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that was a nice little touch in terms of the animation there. I did like the near the beginning where they had a little callback to the previous Hearth's warming story. That Starlight says, yeah, everyone's heard that one. Just kind of like, just get a nice little callback there.
Everyone's heard it except Starlight's Village. Books are banned.
Well, I mean, they have books. They just all have pages and pages of equal signs in them.
Yeah. You hear the story about the eagle sign? Starlight.
Oh man, that's a good one. Lost connection to the chat there.
Huh.
That was just on my phone. I was like, why is no one talking in chat? And then I'm like, it's reconnecting.
Oh, Draconis Media. You could say Derby became the star of the episode. She really did. That was my
literally.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts, is Derby being adorkable as always.
Yeah.
I was like, when I saw me, it's like, oh, I want to see some more of Light Up Derby. It's just too cute.
I'm just kind of going through some of the comments that I missed in chat there, and yeah, I have to agree with what Technotron said. You know, at the past past two musical episodes, well, 4 if you count some of the mini musical episodes that we had later in the season, were written by Amy Keating Rogers, who of course left the show after season 5. So definitely, I think Vogel proved himself to be a worthy successor in terms of writing the musical episodes for the show.
I forgot AKR left. I'm sad.
Let me see here. Funny thing about what Tim says there in chat room. From what I understand, there was supposed to be a Derpy Plony plush that was like 11-inch, but somehow it was accidentally made radioactive or something like that.
What?
It was a storage issue, nothing to do with the components of the plush, but it was mild, but not mild enough. So I was like, it's like, how do you mess something like that up?
I wonder what plush it is, because we sell
They put in a
at work,
already.
bigger plushes at work that one of them is Derpy, and I've always kind of wanted to pick one up.
We stored it in thorium. Oh, Roger. Stored it in a thorium box. Super extra dense. Yeah, she's glowing alright with alpha radiation. You warm your heart, and no, I'll quit the jokes. Yeah, Martha mentions the Spike. Yeah, they put in Spike. Because Spike was being Spike as usual in the whole episode.
Oh my god, he just unleashed a can on Starlight there with that line. That was one of my favorite parts of the
Spike
the
just wings.
episode.
Spike just needs a wing slap. Sorry, Twilight needs a wing slap Spike sometimes. She's like, she just holds her wing. Spike, shut up.
This is the pony who tried to make every pony the same by replacing their key marks with equal signs. Yeah. It's just like, oh snap!
And he gets up, and then what's it? Armos mentions, "Oh, you guys get hot chocolate." It's like commercial break.
Yeah, it was a pretty clever intro to the commercial break there.
It'll take me 2.5 minutes to get my cow going.
It's a good thing he came back just in time.
I got a little Drake's room too.
Yeah, I loved how they did that. It was like just, hey, can we take like a break, and like directly before a commercial break. I loved how they paced that. That was just leaning on the fourth wall right there.
One of the things I really liked about the episode was how kind of seriously they made Luna's part at the end for the Christmas future, because they could have gone a lot of ways with that could have been more kind of comedic, but they really did keep kind of like the original tone of the original book and play, Christmas Carol at that point, which is really, kind of a little scary and dark and very foreboding. During that part, of course they didn't have Luna point to Starlight's grave in this one, but it was pretty much just like the season 5 finale almost in terms of what she caused, which is another nice, really cool, again, the parallel with what's how Starlight's character went through in season 5, and then what I keep forgetting Snowfall's character went through in this story as well, kind of again leading up to this almost like apocalyptic nature at the end there. But just between the song and just the tone of that scene, I think it was really cool that they really kept that really kind of really dark nature and serious nature to that scene. It really was pretty intense between the visuals and the song.
Yeah, we were all guessing who the Christmas Future Ghost was, but I think Luna was perfect for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Twilight would have been good, but I think Luna was perfect.
Luna was perfect for that.
When Luna first, when we first saw the dark shadow and you heard Tabitha's voice going out, first I couldn't tell if it was going to be just plain Luna or Nightmare Moon, because both could have worked in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Reprise of Nightmare Moon. That would actually been pretty good as well.
Just by watching some of the reaction, just a lot of people had trouble separating the characters from the story from the characters in the show. Like, no, this isn't Starlight, or it isn't Rainbow Dash or anything in this. Or a lot of people were acting like they were their like ancestors or something. No, it's just a story. It's just a story, people. They're just the MLP characters are just playing characters in the story. That's why they have different names. So it's just something weird. I saw a lot of people missing, like in terms of discussing online, where they were discussing it as if they were these characters that were doing it.
I do have to admit, it was kind of interesting seeing Rainbow Dash play like what was effectively a stallion, but considering Rainbow Dash, it actually kind of fits her pretty well.
Well, keep in mind, she also, I believe, played a stallion in the last Hearthswarming, well, not the last Hearthswarming episode, but the first Hearthswarming episode in that story.
Well, that's the thing, because for how I feel, Commander Hurricane could easily just as been a woman, considering that Pony Society does seem to be more matriarchal in nature.
I'm pretty sure in the episode they referred to him as a he, though, if I recall correctly. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I thought that they had.
I don't know. I'd have to double check on that.
Yeah.
No matter what your point stands.
Either way, she looks good in the suit.
How about that hair? Very dapper.
That's some crazy hair. kind of bland here, actually.
Although, admittedly, Starlight also looks kind of good with that cravat and that top hat going on too. So, the top hat certainly does look cute on her. Pince-Nez too.
I like Pinky's. I think all the costumes were good. Well, Rainbow's is kind of awkward, but AJ's, Pinky's, Luna's. All the varieties and Fluttershy's the most.
Oh, speaking of Luna, I was remembering we was talking about in the spoiler chat room about how like she was able to get that height going on, and we were joking about like stuff like that she was wearing like a cheap pair of stilts, or that she was actually standing on Princess Celestia's back or something.
Sister Desire, so happy.
You don't know what she was hiding under that robe to extend her height.
Now I'm just only imagining that instead of just being like a story that Twilight told, that they actually just put on a play like this, and like they just literally do that. Just Princess Celestia just standing there and just covered up by the robe, and Luna just standing on her sister's back just to get the height needed for the scene.
Yeah. Oh, there was we have a character section, don't we? So someone's discussed this. Jack brings up the little tidbit of Twilight voicing Pinkie Pie,
Oh yeah.
which is apparently a character. Apparently, this is a tune. Apparently, this is a callback to, or it's a side, whatever you call it, to Tara Strong wanted to voice Pinkie Pie in Getting Twilight.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, Tara tried out for Pinkie too before nailing Twilight.
Oh my.
That was funny because he's like, they transition from the story to the kind of the pony world, and she's singing the song and I forget what. Yeah, I think Starlight's like, you're doing your Pinkie voice again.
Again, which kind of implies that she did it off screen beforehand.
Oh yeah, Starlight and Twilighters. And they talk about Pinkie behind her back, and there is no such thing as behind Pinkie's back. She's always there.
Apparently, they were also implying that Twilight was actually singing out the song too.
That must have been awkward, but that's Twilight. She likes her books. She likes to get immersed in the stories.
I think one of the cooler things I think about the story of the episode was how they kind of worked in and kind of made this almost a continuation of the last Hearthswarming story that we had, where they talk about the Wendigos and that whole story within this story. So this one obviously happens in Equestria, so it happens after that happens. But then how they actually used that to work into the story, where at the end, the whole end of the world is caused by snowfall, I lost my train of thought. Snowfall, kind of removing the holiday or the spirit of the holiday. So, and that kind of leads to the Wendigos coming back in the future then, because they don't have that joy that's spread by the carols and the holiday and whatnot that happened in the previous story. So that whole future, we can see the Wendigos coming around. And I thought it was implied at first, but when I actually rewatched it yesterday, I did see that they did actually mention the Wendigos by name in the Luna scene, and we actually do see them. And actually, we do see them earlier as well when during Starlight's or Snowfall's villain song at the beginning, when she's kind of mixing that potion. They kind of have the little Wendigos come out of the potion there, which is a nice little touch. But I like how the kind of like the end game for this that eventually causes Starlight to change her mind at the end is just a direct continuation of that last story, and the Wendigos returning and destroying everything because she stopped Hearthswarming from coming.
I could have swear she had created them.
Yeah, even though they didn't show Twilight, even though they didn't show them buried, even though Luna didn't show, Twilight didn't show Starlight's persona, buried in the ground. It didn't really matter because it also she pretty much showed everyone buried in the ground under the snow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, frozen.
the entire land of Equestria was frozen today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, yeah. I mean, this takes place, a while after the whole Wendigo story that we heard last time. So even in this story, those are just kind of a legend. Even Starlight kind of just calls it a legend, and the snake pony during the flashback scene actually, I believe, also called them a legend. So I mean, that was obviously before Equestria's wound up being the cause of Equestria's founding. During that part with the Wendigos.
Apparently people forget. People forget fantastic stories easy.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that's also been how many seasons and how many years since. I mean, that was season 2.
That was season 2.
I haven't seen a season 1 or season 2 or many season 1 or season 2 episodes for a while now. I really should go back and rewatch them.
It's so foreign.
It is kind of funny going back and watching a scene or a song or something from the early season, and it just feels nostalgic now. I'm like, I don't know, I can't be feeling nostalgic about Pony. Come on, it hasn't been that long, but yeah, it has been that long.
It's kind of hard to well, it's not really hard to realize. It's just I'm thinking back that, like, wait a minute, this show began in like late 2010. And here it is, it's already 2016. It's May 2016. I'm like, holy hell, where did this time go? Oy.
Gone watching ponies.
Yeah, Tim, although I don't think most of the people at this time, at the time of the story or at the time of the present, really think of it like that anymore. Because it's kind of evolved, sort of like how Christmas is in real life, where it starts out with one thing, but over time traditions ingrain themselves and change, and it becomes something totally different. Where it's totally different from what it kind of started out as, and I think it mirrors Christmas in that respect, where yeah, I mean, it is something that's meant to keep the Wendigos away, but everyone's kind of more or less forgotten about that or focused on other aspects of it as well, or just view it in general as spreading cheer and getting together with family and whatnot, which in turn keeps the Wendigos away.
Yeah. Makes me wonder if they'll ever make a comeback one year as a villain. Not just in the story, but in the real Equestria.
It's funny. It was funny though, because when I saw the previews for the season 6 premiere, I thought it was the Wendigos that were going to be coming back and that causing the snow and whatnot in that episode.
I actually thought it was, given the preview, I thought it would be like Starlight would be telling a story and not Twilight, and I was like, oh, Starlight, it's just one of those theater style, mystery theater style episodes.
I do like the little bit of commentary that they were able to kind of sneak in from Starlight in various places in it.
Starlight's mystery theater. Every story is equally good. That's such a bad joke, I know.
I did like how they did change a little bit from the original story. Like in the original, in most adaptations of Christmas Carol, the spirit at the end just doesn't talk. It's just silent and just kind of points to the grave and stuff and implies it by that. Here they have Luna sing in the episode. It was a good choice, especially with trying to with some of the changes they made and with the time frame that they had to work with, and the fact that they don't really want Luna pointing to Starlight's grave probably in the series. So it was they were able to still explain kind of the whole point of that scene a little clearer with the song, and it has some really kind of intense lines in it, like there like the no time for hope when all is strife and stuff like that. It's pretty, just like the season 5 premiere song had some pretty dark kind of lines in it.
Well, again, she didn't need to pop Wayne Gray because everyone was buried under the snow anyway. She essentially killed everybody.
Pretty much.
Yeah, everyone is frozen today. I don't think they could have kept Luna quiet. It would have been it wouldn't be your character. Luna is a very talky person.
She's also generally pretty bombastic too.
Yeah, she's very charismatic and very loud.
Even when she's trying to be subtle, she's, kind of isn't. If that makes any sense.
So,
Thinking back to season 2, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, sorry. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, just thinking about them thinking back to the first episode of Luna and their big Laurel Cantalon voice and yelling at ponies. That was just, it's kind of been Luna ever since. Anyway.
So anything else for the story and the writing? I don't really think I have anything else for story. I mean, the story it's a Christmas Carol, so the story itself, there's not really much to talk about. It's a Christmas Carol. It was abridged really well.
We can go, if we don't go into characters, I could talk about them, but I think we do.
Yep, that's what we're going into now. Would be I guess technically, relation to the season arc and theme is, hey, it's another Starlight Glimmer episode. Actually, I wasn't expecting one so soon after the last one, but it's nice to have some more, more of her in the series.
And another Starlight, interacting with Twilight episode as well, too. Considering how the last one we had kind of left a bit of a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, this one actually was a lot better off.
Yeah, it's much better. Didn't hate the Trixie one, but I felt it. Yeah, we'll just get. I think it's already been discussed, but I felt this was a much better Twilight, new Starlight episode than either of the ones that have been presented in this season.
Okay, so let's move on to the character and characterization discussion. I just wanted to start this up by saying, they really went. I mean, speaking about putting the effort put into this episode, they really went above and beyond to having a ton of characters featured in this episode, both in the story and the actual back in Ponyville in the castle. I mean, we see a lot of characters we haven't really seen in a while. So like Rarity's parents. At the very end, we see the colt with the rainbow hair, maybe that's somehow related to Rainbow Dash. We haven't seen him since.
I didn't see him. I saw Rainbow. I saw Rarity's parents.
It's very, very brief. At the pan out during the end of that final song, he's on the very left, but he's only there for like a second.
So Twilight's dad.
So.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and then
we had the Derpy. We had Derpy appearance, adorable Derpy. We had Rarity's parents, and I forget who else.
We had all the cakes. We see Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon again singing together at the end. The Doctor and Rose Luck are together at the end. Lara and Bon Bon are together. Twist is actually there, which ruined the episode for me. And behind her, Snips and Snails are also there in that scene. So I mean, obviously they don't really have a big part in the episode, but just in the background, we see them both in the story and in the castle there. Pretty much like all of Ponyville almost.
Ooh. Not only that, but in the story, we get some nice reflective characters like ancient Octavian Vinyl.
Oh my God, Vinyl was I loved Vinyl's use in the story.
How with the phonograph and everything.
Yeah, it's so perfect.
Is it Ratchet?
Has Vogel actually? I know he was writing for the books, but has any of his books come out yet? I wasn't sure.
I thought they had. I don't know. I'm gonna have to double check on that one because I just don't know. Yeah.
I don't really. But yeah, I knew he was also participating in that, which is cool.
Also, the choices for the ghost I think were great. But Prinky made a perfect present ghost. The ghost gives us presents. AJ, the honest, hardworking, traditional pony for the past ghost.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen any adaptation of a Christmas Carol, like a play or a movie, I mean, yeah, they really nailed the characters to half of the ghost. I mean, Pinky's personality is pretty much exactly what the Ghost of Christmas Present's personality is in the plays. as well as Applejacks. And I mean, I know I think one of the funnest things about the episode and kind of rewatching some of the chats and stuff was everyone trying to guess who was going to be the Ghost of Christmas Future, because that was kind of like the biggest mystery. And there's a lot of ways they could have gone. I mean, I originally thought it was either going to be Fluttershy or Rarity, and Rarity could have been, of course, very over the top as the ghost, which would have been funny. And of course, in most of the adaptations of A Christmas Carol, the ghost doesn't talk at all. So I thought that it would be kind of funny if Fluttershy was the ghost of Hearth's Warming Future, just because she doesn't like to talk. But like I said earlier, they kind of went for actually taking that, not making it a joke, and actually really taking that scene seriously. And so I wasn't expecting Luna at all, but it makes so much sense looking back at it, and once it happened, that she was really kind of the perfect choice. And I wasn't expecting. Don't think most people were expecting, just because we were expecting one of the main six. I know some people were expecting Twilight as well, since we didn't see her at all in the story, which would have been
I was predicting Twilight, Rarity, or Fluttershy, but yeah, getting Luna was great. Luna was the perfect dark character for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not meaning to interrupt, but I was just looking up. Yes, Michael Vogel did write the storybook Goodnight Baby Flurry Heart, and that was released on April 12th. So it was fairly recently. So
that's why must have been why I didn't realize it. Yeah, it's very recent.
Yeah, I was also looking. I was like thinking, wasn't he also like a vice president or something? Like, yeah, he was formerly the vice president of development.
Yeah,
so
that's what I said. Yeah, earlier. He was a one of the big wigs at Hasbro in their entertainment division, and he's of course had a very close hand around the show since its inception, and of course has been one of the more vocal executives from Hasbro, like online with the fandom and whatnot.
And he's been in the commentaries for the Equestrian Girls DVDs too.
Ooh.
He's a really fun guy, so from what I've seen, so. And he really loves Disney, if you've ever followed his Twitter. So he's a huge fan of Disney stuff. So
it doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise you after watching this episode.
Okay.
I did really like how, even though it was just some brief moments, I really did like, again, Spike, how he was kind of portrayed in this episode. Again, just bringing that little Spike snark that he has sometimes. I always enjoy kind of seeing him being like that straight man with the deadpan kind of lines that direct, sometimes fourth wall breaking.
Nice rhyme.
Spike's like the character. Spike is coming across as the it's like. I'm trying to think. What whatever in the audience is thinking, Spike just says. And he comes across as being pretty, sometimes rude. But it's like, yeah, Spike, we were thinking that, but that's an appropriate time to say it.
He's a kid. He has no filter.
That's true.
# savage.
He is like.
Oh, but I love him for it. It's fun. Of course, we also got I mentioned that earlier, but we got the Severus Snape pony, Professor Flintheart, as well, in the flashback, which was a timely reference, because I'm sure he probably did all that before he actually passed away, potentially. So
it was an exact Snape clone, but we could tell it was Snapey.
Oh yeah.
Starlight, you were disappointed me again with these festive holiday cheer. I can't do it.
It's better than I could do.
10 points from Gryffindor.
Actually, Gryffindor would work really well in this universe. Sounds like it could be a town.
Rip Alan Rickman, damn it.
I know.
Makes me miss Alan Rickman.
I mean, of course, Harry Potter, but just all of his other roles that he's played. He has some amazing other roles that, of course, get overshadowed by Snape, which is the one most people know him for.
I know he's funny in Die Hard.
Uh-huh.
That was funny. Snape falls out of a building and gets rescued by an alien ship, and that's not a part of the episode. That's a scary movie it did. Starlight and machine gun. I have a cutie mark weapon. Oh.
So, spoilers: Professor Flintheart kills Celestia.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Well, technically, I saw someone else point this out for the past couple of days. But technically, he did like kind of kill everyone by sitting Snowfall on that path.
Yeah. Snowfall was a cute, adorable filly.
Oh yeah, it was cool seeing more of a Philly Starlight.
So kind of, even though there's a past to the episode, it's like it was kind of close to Starlight's past. Like, isn't this canon?
It's true.
People were actually asking. It's like, isn't they thought this was canon to the story, to the main story of MLB? And it's like, isn't this canon? Or does it happen before the? Did this happen before the other Earth Warning? It's like, no, this would actually happen after it was canon.
We don't even know, if this is even like a real story, like from the past of Equestria. I mean, this could very well just be a story, like how A Christmas Carol is a story to us,
Yeah.
So just because stuff that's happening in the episode doesn't necessarily mean this is stuff that's happened in Equestria literally in the past. It's just a story.
True.
But we don't know that for sure, but I mean, it's a possibility it didn't even happen.
It was a Dickens of a story.
Don't be a Dickens. Oh god. Tim's comment, Tree Hugger was from Hufflepuff.
I always thought the Hufflepuff sounded like they would just hang out in the bathroom and just like smoke weed all day.
Yes.
Dude, they'd be high as heck all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Tim, we don't know for sure, but if something is hurting your canon with Equestria, just it's a fictional story then.
That is true. Going in the comic I just saw, did Starlight steal something in the story?
Yeah.
Yeah, she stole presents.
During her song, she kept going around just swiping stuff from the top.
Oh yeah. She'd swipe ribbons and throw in the pot, or brewing witch pot of green
like
stuff.
right in front of people too, just like blatantly stealing stuff.
She swipes Pip's toy.
Oh, okay.
If she just would have kicked
forgot
Twist, I would have been okay with it.
There will be no foolish horn waving in this class.
It's Leviosa.
Yes, we do need more. We do need more history episodes.
Yeah. We also had the Sherlock and Watson, who Matt actually pointed out to me that in one scene there was a pony kind of in the shadows to the left that looked like it was like Moriarty. And if you look, they appear in a couple scenes, and he's always like just to the side of them, following them around, which I thought was kind of a cool little Easter egg in there.
Maybe we get a new story character. Instead of Daring Do, we get Sherlock Pones. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be called
Pones. Sure. Of course, Sherlock probably isn't going to be the best name. I believe it's already used in the fandom.
It's already taken.
Yeah, it's already taken.
Dang it. Let's see. I will say, just holy crap, how adorable Twilight is when they're coming out of Pinky's song and kind of singing along with it, and like a Pinky's voice there. Otherwise, character-wise, I mean, there's not a ton of actual, like, character development in this. Starlight does get some, a little bit of stuff at the end, kind of expanding her character and expanding her, how she feels about living in Ponyville and how she fits in there. But, mostly the character kind of views in this episode and the character discussion is mainly just kind of how they utilized the characters within the rules of the Christmas Carol story, which, I mean, they really fit everyone in. Really really well.
Yeah, the characters fit perfectly, I think, and it's nice to have all those Easter eggs in the show episode too. So, Button Mash. It's probably more of a fun episode, fun story episode. Even if it was a May, Christmas in May, it's always Starlight. Yeah, Tim. It's Starlight Abridged. I also like the even though they went through a Christmas Carol, they didn't do an exact one-to-one retelling of it. They put their own spin on it, which I think made it a little more original. Tinsels are evil. Oh, kissing.
It's like I was saying, we don't really get to see such blatant displays of affection on screen, just even by named characters.
Actually, kissing is the worst. Yeah, kissing is the most lewd thing we see. I don't want to say the word lewd, but PDA. Normally we get nuzzling and friendship. We're such good friends.
That's too much friendship.
Yeah. Don't down the friendship there. It's for the kids.
I think it was implied visually that Pip was Tiny Tim. I think just by his dress. It would have been pretty funny to make it Scootaloo though. just because of how that would work into the story. But of course, that was one of the characters that they cut as being that's a little too much for this story.
Not to mention, if Pip was supposed to be Tiny Tim, it kind of made it hard for him to suddenly just be able to cut a rug with Pinky. Although I do have to admit, just seeing the two of them dance together like that was amazingly cute.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have to agree with Tim, with the robe looking on her. Pinky just looks like she just, was born to just wear that robe.
Anything else for the anyone has to say about the characters and in the episode?
That was obviously the strongest point of this episode, but we said it all. I mean,
yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
He was perfect Christmas present. I really like we already talked about Tara Strong's or Twilight's reference to Tara Strong wanting Pinkie Pie, and she's singing, and it's like good old Twilight adorableness. Derpy's adorableness in the episode. All the little fun stuff they do for heartwarming.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of voice acting, I'm not entirely sure, who was singing for Twi there, because it could have been Tara Strong, but
it wasn't.
But Rebecca Cholette was actually credited as Twilight's singing voice in the credits. So it's like I don't know if she came in to sing that one small line for Twilight, because she didn't have any. Twilight doesn't have any other solos in any of the other songs for it. So it's either that she came in to sing that one little song for that one little bit for Twilight there, or Twilight was singing as part of the chorus in the song at the beginning and the end when the entire group, everyone is singing. So it might have just been that, but usually in the chorus moments, a lot of times it'll just be the chorus, and the main six won't actually be singing that part because they just kind of blend in anyway. So I don't know, I really don't know if that was Tara or if that was actually Rebecca Schlett. I mean, if Rebecca Schlett was already there, I guess it could have been her.
Yeah, it was Rebecca. I pull up the. It was Rebecca Shaw, or whether or not same as.
I mean, but do you know that it's actually her singing that one part? Because I know she's in
Yeah,
the credits.
I pull up the. Let me link it here. Pull up the credits.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I know
it's
she's in the credits as a sing, but she could still be in the credits if she was actually singing as for Twilight during the first song and the last song as part of the chorus with the rest of the main six. So it doesn't necessarily mean she was singing that part for Twilight.
Oh, you mean when she was singing as Pinkie Pie?
Yeah. That little tiny part with Pinkie Pie. I don't know if
I would think that was Tara. It sounds like Tara. I don't know. Unless Rebecca did a really good job with Twilight as well.
Well, Rebecca usually is pretty close when she's in her singing voice for Twilight. So
That means Ashley Ball did her own singing voice then. You know, it's the part of we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I guess what we're saying in chat there was of course Luna got a new singing voice. In the past, for the time Luna sung in the past, in the season 4 finale, it was Kazumi Evans, who also sings for Rarity, which is fitting, since Tabitha voices Rarity and Luna. For this one, they actually got a professional singer, Aloma Steele, who was
freaking awesome.
Who just rocked it, and look her up on SoundCloud if you have it, because some of the stuff she has on there and she's singing is just absolutely awesome, like amazing. And a lot of that stuff she actually does sound like Luna singing. So I mean, they really picked kind of like the perfect person to sing for Luna, because she like sounds exactly like Luna when she's singing. And of course, she has that really powerful voice too, with it being able to hit those really deep notes as Luna.
Which would be perfect for Luna's being a boding voice.
Exactly. Especially in this scene where her voice is a lot more like her loud, Nightmare Moon voice, or her old Luna voice versus, in newer episodes, of course, when she's a lot more quiet.
Yeah. So that means Ashley Ball did her own singing, because I think, Applejack had her own singing.
Yeah, Ashley Ball does her own singing for Applejack and Rainbow Dash. She's I think only one that sings for both. With Andrea Libman, Andrea sings for Fluttershy, but Shannon Kent sings for Pinkie.
Yeah.
Who also did an amazing job in Pinkie's song. It was so good hearing like an extended Pinkie song again, because that was just a lot of fun.
Pinkie's always fun.
Mm-hmm. And and on that note, having another an extended Applejack solo song, which we really haven't had. We had Raise This Barn, where she sang for most of it, and then we had the Apple Family song from season 4, where she was just part of the whole Apple family singing. So it was really nice having an extended solo song for Ashley and for Applejack as well, finally.
Even though it's been we're in our 6th season, I always find it amazing how the voice actors and the singing actors sound so very similar when they're doing their various roles. It's almost kind of you can kind of tell a bit of a difference when Pinkie is singing versus she's speaking. You can definitely tell a bit of a difference between Shannon Chan Kent and Andrea Lemon, but they sound so remarkably similar. I mean, it's almost hard to tell unless you're really listening.
If I recall correctly, I think most of the singers actually had auditioned for the vocal, the characters' voices for them as well, and they brought some of them on as the singing voices for those characters, since they had either stronger voices or a background, but background more in singing, but not actually voicing the characters. I think most of them, I'm pretty sure Shannon was auditioned for Pinkie and Rebecca Twilight, and I'm pretty sure Kazumi did audition for one of them. Probably Rarity. But yeah, I mean, they all of the singers actually actually auditioned for like the main cast. So yeah, and all of them. I mean, just they're able to match the singing voices so well. I mean, you can't tell it's Rebecca, singing for Twilight, or Shannon singing for Pinky, or Kazumi for Rarity. I mean, they're very close, especially when they're singing, and they're really able to hit that really well.
But yeah, I'm really glad that they brought Aloma Steele in to to sing as Princess Luna, because she just matches that so well.
I mean, Kazumi, in the season 4 one, Kazumi did a really great job singing for Luna. But for this one, just again, the powerfulness of the song, and Luna kind of singing this in her Canterlot, caps lock voice versus her new Luna voice, and that deeper nature of it was really, Aloma Steele was really able to bring that kind of power behind that singing.
I'm gonna just say this now. I seriously hope we get to hear more of that in the future.
Oh, definitely. Let's see. I guess the only other new thing was I haven't looked him up, so I'm not sure if someone's looking on IMDb. But William Samples voiced Professor Flintheart, or the Snape parody pony, which is I believe a new voice actor for the series. I don't remember seeing his name before.
William Samples.
Let me take a look here. So William Samples is an actor known for Happy Gilmore, Hop the Twig, and The Big Ear.
Who did he play in Happy Gilmore?
Let me see about that. Let me try to look that up. Where did he have that? Oh, he did. Oh, come on. Apparently just a bit role.
No, it wasn't. Would have been interesting to do the guy from One Country for Old Men. I don't know that guy's name, but you know what I'm talking about.
William Samples. This is Vinyl's brother.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he did like any major roles from what I see. It was just mainly just bit characters and guys in the background, mainly supporting cast, if you will.
Gotcha. Yeah, usually the voice director or producers or directors or whatever, writers will bring in people that they know. So might be someone that one of them probably knew and thought that his voice would make a good Severus Snape kind of parody. Also, this is another episode with Kelly Sheridan getting top billing in the voice credits as well for Starlight.
Yeah.
Definitely, cause she's definitely been just a great addition to the cast. I definitely, cause I just really do love that they can kind of have Starlight as more of a recurring more a recurring main character for it, because she just does great and just kills it in this as again kind of falling back into the evil Starlight voice throughout it. And of course the song and stuff. It was great kind of hearing her being able to voice that kind of voice again.
Yes. I'm wondering, I know this is off topic, I'm wondering if they'll have an inevitable meet with Starlight or Sunset. Like in a new, I want to see those two meet. I think the fans really want a Sunset, Starlight, Twilight in one scene deal.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
off topic though.
That's normal for Triple E. Don't worry. Very rarely does it stay on topic for long. No, yeah, Kelly was just great. I mean, just the amount, especially like you said, like Tim, and like the verses of the song, and just the amount of like emotion and kind of like deviousness that she puts behind the voice. It isn't just her singing; she's putting like delivering the lines kind of like very lightly or softly, or just with the right flavor to kind of bring apart that kind of evilness, that villainness that the character is going through right there.
Well, I've noticed you bring up a good point. Good Starlight versus Evil, you can tell there's a difference in tone.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, like her new voice is a lot more butter. Buttery isn't the right word, but I can't think of the word I'm trying to use. It's a lot more smooth, and while her evil voice is a lot more shrill, and has a lot more like this kind of stuff behind it versus just just a normal talk, calm talking voice. And she still gets that shrillness a little bit when she starts freaking out in the past couple episodes.
But she gets still a little devious with and other things. You can tell that kind of like aggressive voice comes back. It's like, oh, Twilight Spike.
Well, that was definitely one of my favorite things about the season 6 premiere was just how she still had that devious, like kind of playing with Spike and like playing mind games with him to get him to try and like delay them to getting to Sunburst's place, and she still had that devious kind of conniving nature behind her. Sort of like just how like Discord still has his mischievous nature that he had before he was reformed.
Of course, it's like when you're right. Discord's reformation. I don't think a tame Discord would never be fun.
Yeah, she does. It's still funny because hearing her sing in this and speak in this and like some of the past episodes in season 5 and just imagining Barbie saying all of this since she was of course the voice actor for Barbie for a while. I think she might still be. I'm not sure if she still voices Barbie in the newer stuff or not. It's kind of funny just seeing that, and she really I'm glad she's getting an opportunity to like really play a really good character in these because she definitely shows how good of a voice actor she is.
Barbie? Oh, I gotta imagine Barbie saying Starlight's lines. Hey kid,
Hey kid, everyone's gonna be equal.
Ken, you can't do that.
I guess all the Barbies do look the same.
The other dolls.
Everyone's special and equal.
Everyone's special because no one is.
Just remember, you're a unique little snowflake, just like everyone else.
Burn.
Yes.
I think we just triggered a bunch of people. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Starlight gets triggered a lot.
Yes.
She really just has the most over-the-top freakouts, all the way back from that first episode where she gets that crazy, like, freak-out face at the end when her plan's kind of falling apart to how she reacted and, like, yelling in public when she was going crazy in the Trixie episode a couple episodes ago.
Oh,
she has a little temper problem.
She does, and that's bad. Quiet!
Yeah, I definitite want more Spike Starlight because they definitely play off each other really well.
There you go. Spike don't need rarity. He's got Starlight now.
Bam.
Very new ship. Ship it Star. What's it? Star Spike. I don't know. Spike Light.
Let's see. Yeah, she did, but I don't think Kelly Sheridan actually voiced Barbie.
No, that was Jodie Benson.
Yeah.
Still. Let's see. Oh, well, I guess we can move to humor. Is the next section discussed? So,
Yay!
What does everyone have to say about the humorous nature of the episode?
It was there.
Let's say
Go ahead.
Again, this was like one of those things where we had a one of those little stuff like Granny Smith going in the cart, tossing the presents and squashing the filly accidentally.
I completely missed that on the first watch through, and I saw a gif of that. I'm like, holy crap, that did not actually happen in the episode. And the comedic timing of that was just perfect. They're just going through throwing the presents, and she kind of slides off screen, and the present just kind of splat down on it, and the filly's arms are just kind of shaking under the present.
Happy housewarming in the hospital.
Oh,
If there's
good.
anything
Oh,
that
thank
ever
God.
needed if there's anything that needed a Grand Theft Auto wasted, like
I was
like
gonna
what
say,
Tim-
thank God Tim posted that in chat because I was just about to mention that image.
He just did that. I just posted it too.
Someone
Oh,
really
you
needs
beat
to
me,
get on
Tim.
making an animated GIF version of that, though. 'Cause that would be so much
that was what
better.
I was that was what I was trying to say. Is if there needed the Grand Theft Auto wasted, treatment on that in terms of the animation thing, then yeah, that definitely needed. The still images works fine though.
I don't know if there's a way. We could find a. No, there's not one yet. Found on Derpy
Yeah.
at least.
That's it. I looked before, while we were starting. I didn't see one then.
They also need to make one when Derpy drops the ornament on the floor. Just,
Yes.
the ornament shatter, wasted.
That sucks. There was one for the Rainbow Dash up.
Yeah,
I guess someone
there was
hasn't
one.
made it yet.
There was one recently, an animated one recently with Rainbow Dash.
That's on
that's one-
Derpy, but
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, really like the part where they're singing that first song and Derpy drops the ornament and just Rarity's reaction in the song is like, for goodness sake, like it just sung. Kazumi sings that just so perfectly because the amount of stress behind that, and of course it pans up and it's Derpy that dropped it,
Derpy's like, I get up there.
and she just does the shrug.
Say again where Derpy was even glowing while she's like still hanging onto the top of the tree, wearing the star on her head.
Yeah, and she lights up.
That's fine.
Yeah, Rarity just like face palming as well. Just
Yeah. Oh, for fuck! I want to hear her singing "For fuck's sake."
Damn it, Derpy.
Come on,
You
some
know-
fan voice, get on that.
I actually saw a pillow that would be just
Yeah.
totally perfect in Rarity's house. The pillow is had like a little message saying, "I do not curse. I enunciate clearly like a fucking lady."
Oh, that's so perfect.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the dragon episode from season 2 with Spike. There's like, where she like puts up her. He's like, I forget exactly what she said. It's been so long since I've seen
He
that.
says, fighting's not normally my thing, but if
Yeah.
you harm one little scale on his head, his cute little head, I will tear you limb from limb."
Yeah. It's still, I
Rarity
thought
Ray.
that
Line.
one-
It was,
how about the I like the use of the return of the pinky sense, and how
Yes,
I feel a song coming on.
I think Pinky and Spike both added good humor in this, but yes.
So now at fourth wall breaks and predicts songs. I really like that little lamp shading there.
This was Draconic Quest Media was saying like Starlight has Snowfall was like saying if you want to go home early, and she doesn't even get the full sentence out when Snow dashes boom out the door and just flying on down the street. Twilight and Spike's reaction to Starlight not loving the holidays. Like, how can you not love Hearthwarming Eve, man?
He had that same exact reaction in the last Hearthwarming episode last season. Didn't he at the beginning where their Applejack came in and like they were talking about, I forget who, they're talking about traditions, and he said something like that, like how can you not open presents or something. I forget exactly what it was, but he likes his Hearthwarmings.
Oh, Spike loves the present.
I really like just musically and animation wise too. Because I really like the tap dancing part. It was so, I don't know. It was just I don't even know if it was funny, but it was really enjoyable to watch. Especially being at their horses.
Yeah. And like I said,
Hug. I'm sorry. That link, that Draconis Media link to this. Do not want hug.
let me double check that here. Oh yeah.
Actually looks like oh gosh,
Yeah,
what's her name from
Brian
Rainbow Rocks? Oh, it's been so much. I need to rewatch a lot of stuff. Forget. It looks like a sonata. Not sonata. What's the main
Adagio?
one? Adagio. Thank you, Adagio. With that hair.
Oh yeah, Kazumi's other character. That's what I think I saw her. I recognized Kazumi. I was like, where is she? She's Aries VA, but I think she also plays Adagio in Rainbow Rocks.
I'm still here. Just
But yeah, I think the biggest additions to the humor were probably Derpy's little stuff. Not only but Spike's corpse, and of course Pinkie Pie's pinkiness.
I like at the end of the song before we get to the spirit of Heartwarming Future, how Piggy just slowly backs away into the fog, making her own echo for saying ever, ever, and ever.
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, holy crap! There's a lot of cider and eggnog in this, and all the ponies getting really smashed at this party.
You could also see Berry Punch or Berry Shine in the background as well. You know, obviously getting into it.
Oh yeah, she was taking a big swig.
Say, and you know, Snow Dash, you know, doing the spit take when she saw Snowfall at the party, and, as well as the record needle scratch as well when she just barges into the party and announces she's brought presents.
And that's very fitting, being that there was a record playing the music. Actually used it correctly.
And you even saw the vinyl like right there next to it. You know.
I did like during the final song when they're everyone's singing. You see Vinyl and she's not singing. She's not singing at all. Her mouth isn't moving. She's just kind of bobbing her head while everyone else is singing there. It's the little character touches like that.
Yeah, looks like they're so hard set on not having vinyl talk at all. They don't even have her sing background vocals, even if you don't hear her.
The Phantom would implode again.
She was talking in the background earlier in the episode, though. Not during a song, but during the talking. I believe she was talking to Octavia.
Oh, okay.
Everyone thinks it's Jesse Nowak doing Octavia. I'm sorry, Vinyl.
I'm fine with them not doing it. There's no way they could win getting a voice final. Either no one's gonna like it or everyone's gonna call pandering or whatnot. I'm fine with having an actual. I'm fine with having a mute character like that. Although I'm happy they got Derpy to talk again for a bit.
That's happy too, because after season 2's whole big drama.
Yeah.
At least Derpy isn't dead, because we're all worried.
See, anything else for the humor?
Oh, I see Blossom Forth.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there he is. Oh, this.
You know, this is actually the first time I think we've seen Rarity's dad without his hat on.
Well, this is only the second time we've seen whoever that we don't know if it's dad, brother, or what. All we know is he was with Rainbow Dash holding her up in the Games Ponies Play episode in that flashback.
Where's Rainbow Dash's mother then? Unless we go by
maybe that is,
and it's what's her name? Firefly.
Maybe that is her mother, and she just looks like surprisingly masculine.
You never know.
Your mother is your father.
Oh. Yeah, but of course for about half of the main 6 we haven't seen their
no,
parental
of course,
units.
Poor AJ.
Although we do know that AJs exist existed at some point. But because they were at least name dropped in the last season's humor, or not name dropped, but mom and dad were here, so they did actually. That was like the first time they actually mentioned them in the series, or referred to them at all.
It's, of course, we don't know Well, we know Pinkies. So
Yeah, we know Pinkies. We don't know
Fluttershy's the one
Fluttershy's, or
haven't
we don't know
seen.
Rainbow Dashes. The wonderful the the Pegasi have some family issues.
They have no parents. What gives? That's some Pegasi thing.
Hey, and I mean, maybe it's a race kind of thing. I mean, Scootaloo. We never seen Scootaloo's parents either.
Well, the only there's an exception is Pumpkin, I think, or Pound, I think.
Yeah, well, of course, their parents aren't Pegasus though. Their parents were Earth ponies.
Yeah, but straight Pegasus is.
But yeah.
There's some creepy, conspiracies happen.
That's right. Because we've seen all the other main sixes' parents, or at least know they exist, or been name dropped. Like with Applejack, we know that they're not around, presumably because they're dead.
Yeah,
no matter what,
we
they're
know
not
their
around.
family. We know Pinky's family all too well. We know Rarity's parents and
Yeah, we've seen that.
Twilight's parents, and that's.
Oh, I'm still so happy that they talked in the season. That's totally unrelated.
Oh,
But I'm
yeah.
still so happy about that. That was
Let's
awesome.
see. I'm gonna admit though, I am actually kind of hoping that is Rainbow's dad and kind of not her brother, and then that's only because of the fact that this is actually kind of concerning a future episode. I really don't want to say anything about it because it is a bit of a spoiler. But
those who know the spoiler know exactly what you're talking about, though.
yeah,
So.
and it's just the thing that at this point, I mean, unless we count Starlight as part of the main cast, this would pretty much imply that at this point, Rainbow Dash is pretty much like the only one that's not, who doesn't have any siblings. And being an only child myself, it kind of minds that be kind of nice to have a character who's actually relatable in regards to not having any brothers or sisters.
Well,
At
of
least
course, Rainbow Dash was really
Yeah.
welcoming to bring Scootaloo as a sister as well. So, I mean,
Well,
that would
an
kind of fit
adopted
with
one,
that
yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would seem like she wouldn't have a sibling if, because she was very into kind of taking her under her wing as a adopted sister.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, never mind then.
Of
Yeah,
course,
I
for all, this is all just speculation. For all we know, Pony's not related to Rainbow Dash at all. But I mean, given the evidence, it would. I mean, how many other ponies in the show have some sort of rainbow-colored mane?
Only two that we know of.
Yep. Well,
Of course,
yeah.
I will laugh my ass off if that winds up to actually being her mother with just a very masculine appearance. I will laugh myself to death.
Oh yeah, she speaks as a female voice. Oh my goodness.
I will say, and this is completely unrelated, but we're talking about Starlight's parents. I do believe Starlight is a lot older than the main six are. She's a lot more, I think, a lot more of an adult than the main thing. The main six are kind of like young adults. And when you kind of get into talking about age and MOP, it's a little, iffy and stuff. But I do feel like she's a lot more of a mature, maybe not mentally, but a lot more physically mature kind of pony that's a lot older than Twilight and the rest of the main six are.
I mean, you're older than you. Cut away back to season 1.
Just how I it's my headcanon that Sunset is also at least a couple years older than the main six is.
Probably.
That kind of gives some very interesting little. Starlight is at least as old as Sunset. Yeah, let's see. Yeah,
At least. But I think she's even older than Sunset.
Well, it kind of makes a bit of an interesting little dynamic between Starlight and Twilight now that since they're apprentice and teacher respectively, with the student being physically older than the teacher would actually be kind of a I mean, it's not an uncommon thing because college settings we have students of all types of ages, but in a distinct one-on-one setting, like a sort of teacher-student thing that where the student's actually older than the teacher. Still kind of interesting kind of dynamic.
Well, for Sunset, just going off what kind of Tim's talking about, for Sunset, the reason why I feel she's older than Twilight is because it was implied that she was Celestia's student before Twilight. So Celestia took in Twilight after Sunset had already gone through the portal. At least that's what I kind of felt like. So I feel like she's a few years older because of that, because she was a little ahead of Twilight in becoming Celestia's student.
Probably.
That actually makes sense, and that's how I kind of feel it as well. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. So.
Well, the ages between the ponies and the humans are obviously different. Being obviously they're in high school, and I feel like the main six are older in Equestria than they are in Equestria Girls, because they're a lot more like older teenagers. Obviously, they're kind of like seniors in high school, probably around 17 or 18 human years in that. And Starlight's probably a little older in 19 and 20, and it's not uncommon to have students that are a couple years older, especially if they've been held back in school like that. So yeah, she's probably still a couple years older, even though she's in the same grade as the rest of the main six. And that's something you're obviously leaving ambiguous, especially with grades, because when you have like a thing where they're getting through a school year and they're seniors, it's you kind of have to end the series if you do that. So there's a lot of things like that involve schools where they leave it kind of ambiguous as to what school year it is or the school year ending.
Oh my goodness, this perpetual school and the EQG verse.
I mean, even look at MLP with between like the season 4 premiere and like season 1, how it's kind of implied that only a year has passed, but it feels like a lot more time would have passed in the world. But
it really is kind of inconsistent, given we've had 3 heartwarming celebrations, unless they come at random or whenever Celestia feels like it.
Celestia feels like busting out the booze. Heart's warming too.
Yeah, she's had a hard day. It's winter time.
Yeah.
Celestia busts out the booze. Why doesn't she declare Pony St. Patrick's Day then?
She hasn't thought of it yet.
Thousands died.
Exactly.
Oh gosh. Okay, let's get back on here. Animation is the next, and the visuals is the next bit to talk about here.
That's for...
I already mentioned Dash's hair, but her hair. I mean, just in general, just the amount of work that went into this episode at every stage, including the costume. I mean, like all of the ponies in this. I mean, they're the same ponies that obviously they're using from the series, but they all have their own individual costumes. Nothing's repeated. They all have their own custom outfits. Everyone's wearing one. Not really. I don't think anyone's not wearing anything for most of the episode. And I think on all the new locations, and even the locations in Ponyville where they're all decorated with Christmas lights and whatnot. Even the castle. The castle looked really good. That whole thing with Ponyville at the end there with the castle and everything looked really good, all lit up with that. But yeah, because the amount of work that went into designing all of that for this episode is just insane.
Sorry.
You've been tested.
We had the thing with Starlight's hair standing on her back, or implying when Ghost Applejack walks through her. Does have to chill.
Oh yeah. That was cool. There's another neat one later in the episode where they're in the past and young Starlight walks through present Starlight, and it's just a really, because thinking about it in terms of Flash animation is really cool, because then you have the kind of translucent character of the young Starlight behind her, and then it comes through, walks through her, and then Starlight's character, either one of them, either the older or the younger Starlight, kind of gets really ghost-like and wobbly and stuff, only in the area where they intersect. And then the young Starlight's in front of her, layer-wise. And, because that little tiny bit of a half second of animation probably had quite a bit of work going into it. So that was really neat. I don't know if I can find it or not, but I thought that... I actually managed to get right to it. So yeah, here's that one I was talking about, where the Philly Starlight runs through the older Starlight here. You just I've got so that was kind of a nice bit as well.
Mm.
Oh,
Consider
another one.
turkey.
Let me see if I can find this one. I guess I have to kind of seek through it here. Okay, I went too far. This is kind of hard to find. Oh yeah, here we go. Right, this little animation at the end of Starlight, the villain song here at it, when Starlight's kind of like standing on two hooves and going, and she kind of crouches down here, and the animation right there was so smooth. As she's kind of holding that note and like bringing her body almost like into like a ball there, like singers sometimes do when they're singing those very loud emotional lines. So, but just the smoothness of that animation was pretty cool. And this one is storyboarded by Megan Willis and Sabrina as well. Of course, Sabrina, who's a little bit more active in the fandom. Doesn't work on the show anymore, but she did do a few episodes here in season 6. So this is one of the episodes that she had worked on.
Maybe third to last. I think she posted on her
Okay.
posted about it on her Derpy. I'm sorry, her DeviantArt.
I missed it. What did you say? How many?
But
I'll check her DeviantArt, but
Okay.
she
Yeah, I missed
posted
that.
about it. Because I remember seeing the post from Sipsy on DeviantArt. It's like, oh, somebody. It was my story. How she talked about the storyboard, and it was like it was third to last or something.
I know this is her second for the season so far. But yeah, they did a great job with the storyboarding of this one.
Oh, it's second to last. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so she got one more then. I'm assuming it's probably earlier in the season, probably before the hiatus, unless it's the whatever episode got moved.
According to her, it's her last episode isn't aired yet. So.
Well, yeah. If this is the second to last, yeah. I really liked, on the aspect of the costumes, how each of the costumes of the spirits was heavily inspired by the original story and plays and how they usually look in those, but then incorporating bits of the character, the MLP character that was playing them really well. So, like, for Pinkie Pie, for example, her like robe thing is very. If you ever seen like a production of A Christmas Carol, that's at least the ones that I've seen. That character is usually wearing a big white robe, very bright. It's meant to be kind of like Santa, in a way, but mixed between like Santa and an angel, at least in a lot of the productions that I've seen of it. And Pinkie was wearing pretty much that exact kind of robe, but incorporated like a lot of like a candy cane belt and like a candy filled headpiece for her as well, and all the other characters kind of meshed their normal clothing and what the character normally is in MLP with the clothing that the character would have worn in A Christmas Carol, which I really thought was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, costumes are good. AJ's traditional costume, Pinkie's, happy-go-lucky. And of course, you talking about parallels to the story. Of course, Luna's dark, foreboding robe and tentacles and whatnot.
I did notice at the end, the real Pinkie in the final scene during that final song has a bell at the tip of her hair, which was I guess
Pinkie.
I'm wondering if that's part of her costume or the main 6 have put that on her so that she can't use her fourth wall powers to sneak up on them anymore. I definitely always am thinking that Pinkie, we really need to put a bell on Pinkie because she's really good at sneaking up. And one thing, I I won't worry about scrubbing it. But during that final song, at that very last part of the song where everyone's kind of singing that round, for the final chorus, if you go back and actually like look at the lip sync on all the ponies, and there's like 3 different lip syncs that are synced perfectly to each like the different parts of the round. So different ponies throughout the entire crowd are singing a different part of that song in sync. And even if you just like to look at the main 6, and you can see which ones are singing which part of that, which I think is real. I don't know. For me, that's something I always found really cool, is when they actually put that really extra effort into the lip syncing to make them each sing a different part of that song.
Yeah. Go for that. Look for that.
This part here.
Adorable little.
So, anything else for the animation and visuals of the episode that anyone has to add?
And you guys pretty much took everything I could say about it out of my mouth.
I read they kind of go over the shivering sunset, starlight thing.
Oh yeah, with the moon at the end that gets really kind of bright and engulfs the screen.
Ah.
Luna wanted to have a bigger part in the episode, so.
Look at the moon so close to Equestria that it broke up, and I think we'll get into that. She forgot about physics.
Yeah, who she was like Mary, I believe. Rarity played, I believe, Mary, and then of course Fluttershy.
Oh yeah, they had alternate names. I didn't really catch on the episode, but they had I forget Rainbow's name was Snow something.
We had Snow Dash,
yeah.
with Rainbow Dash. We had Snowfall with Starlight. We had Flutter Holly with Holly, and Rarity was supposed to be Mary. Yeah.
M-E-R-R-Y. I'm like,
Yeah, Mary has in like M-E-R-R, like Merry Christmas.
Applejack with pigtails.
For ponies. It's like,
Yeah, Applejack with pigtails. I even pointed that out
That
too.
was just like how like a young Granny Smith had the same kind of pigtails that young Granny Smith had in her flashbacks.
Not only just pigtails, but braided as well.
Mm-hmm. It's just the amount of design that had to go into that's just crazy.
Fluttershy. I'm bringing up the screenshot here.
Mm-hmm.
Fluttershy and braids and whatnot in her hair. So.
Yeah. I mean, all of even like the background characters all had different costumes and different hairstyles and stuff. You know, and Vinyl had like her little tiny they were still purple, but they like the tiny little more old-fashioned spectacles on it with her gramophone.
Oh, and the dresses and stuff, all detailed.
Dresses.
That's what I want to talk about.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, I guess we can move on to the bulk of this episode, which a lot to talk about in terms of the song and the musical number. So we only got one so far this season with Apple Bloom's song earlier, but we finally get to this musical episode where we got 6 songs, one of them being a reprise.
Oh boy, here we go. Time for Rain to break out his big discussion of the episode.
Let him speak.
If you guys want to start, I'll be right back. I just gotta run and get some real quick, and then I'll talk away. But if you guys want to say stuff.
No, I meant that in a good way, because I meant that in a good way. 6 songs, Rain's got a lot of ground to cover here.
Yeah, Rain does a really good job in like discussing the music. That's more his expertise in area discussion. Me personally, I'm more like it was music. It was good. That's all I have to say about it.
Lots of good songs, yeah.
But, I liked how bouncy Pinky's song was.
Yep, bouncy, full of energy. That's pretty much Pinky's songs most of the time. Anyways, just really bouncy and full of energy.
This one had more of a bouncy jazz feel to it.
Jazz would kind of, jazz actually fits Pinky a lot, really. Kind of how like with Rainbow Dash does with like the hard rock and like the electric guitars and sort of her background a lot of the time. Pinky just strikes me as more of the kind of a big band sort of jazzy sort of type of person. And with Applejack, obviously being more bluegrass and lots of banjos in hers. But we don't really hear a lot of that here. It's still very different in regards to, it's still very, fits the theme here. We've got whatchamacallit, the hearth-warming Christmas sort of type of music here. Pinky is indeed a one-man big band, so yeah, the whole big band sort of theme for her just fits very well.
Sorry about it. I didn't mean to run off right at the front, but my food arrived, so I had to get that real quick. So
yeah, I understand. Yeah,
it's like, of course, it's like right as we're getting to this section.
Kind of makes me wonder if I should.
For you.
Kind of makes me wonder if I should have done something like that.
Oh
well.
Okay.
Take it away.
Gosh, where's my cursor? There it is. So since everyone's probably heard the songs, I'll just kind of have us listen to the instrumental versions of them and kind of point out some stuff in the background of each of these ones. So we start off with the kind of like the generic kind of Christmas carol kind of song, very traditional kind of Christmas song for the heartwarming here. Eve is here, once again. So this one has pretty much what you'd expect from a holiday song, from a Christmas song, in it, in terms of the instrumentation of it. A lot of strings and woodwinds in it. So let's just go ahead and put that on. Very loud kind of horns to start off here too.
Definite Christmas. Definite cheerful, fast tempo.
Of course, you got to have the sleigh bell. I really like that really strong brass backing the male vocals there. Here's Rarity's part. So yeah, that's kind of a traditional kind of Christmas song, and I'll go ahead and I'll play the reprise of it from the end of the episode while we're here. It's the same thing except Starlight's singing it. Starts out a little bit different here. right here we get a really cool brass buildup into the reprise. Big finish there at the end. So that was the Heartswarming here is here. Heartswarming Eve is here once again. It's a mouthful. One thing I will say about the music is I really, in all the songs, I really like the lyrics of them that Mike Vogel did, and they must have been pretty good because usually for songs in the series, Daniel Lincoln will rewrite some of the lyrics to kind of fit the melody a little bit better that they're trying to portray in it, and we usually get a writing credit for the lyrics as well. But all but the last two songs, the only lyric credit was for Mike Vogel. So, kudos to him for he really knocked the lyrics out of the park. I really like a lot of the rhyming schemes and a lot of the songs and a lot of the lyrics of the songs. Let's see. So, next one is we got the villain song, which is awesome to have another villain song in the series, especially in the main series here, because I'm not sure when the last time we had a villain song was. Yeah. This one is kind of definitely almost like a like Bats in terms of its instrumentation and the bouncy kind of feel, bouncy kind of feel of it that it has. And it has again that kind of evil nature. It's almost like a tango as well in terms of it, like a very evil tango. That's kind of a common thing for villain songs to have. But yeah, it's nice to have that, and it's also nice to have Starlight singing it as well, because hearing more of her sing is great. And of course, she sang in the finale, but she sung as a villain in the season 5 premiere with that kind of marching song. But this is a lot more of a kind of a traditional kind of villain song that I think she really gave a great performance on. So let's play that. Starts a little simple. And here we get into the main part. Definitely a very similar feel to Bats in terms of its inspiration and its instrumentation. Here's kind of like that tango part. Yeah, just like Bats, it has that very Denny Elfman kind of inspiration to it. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot more of a traditional villain song than the first song from season 5, which was meant to be more like a kind of a communist kind of march feel to it for that town. So yeah, it's great being able to them to have this kind of song again in the series. So the next one is the past song, the spirit of Hearth's Past. Of course, and this will be our full AJ solo song, which is one of the pretty much like the first one we've had where it's like a full song, where she's had pretty much been the whole solo of it, and the longest too. So, of course, this one is going to have a lot more of a kind of a Christmas country feel to it. All these songs have like a different kind of Christmas style, like all the different kind of Christmas music you could hear. And this one's not more like in the country feel. It has the banjos and the guitar in it as well for Applejack, and then it kind of gets more orchestral at the second part after during its reprise after the scene with Starlight in the past. So let me get this one up. Oh yeah, I was gonna also say that I really, really like the intro to the song. It has this really big brass build-up here that is very, very typical to a lot of Christmas songs. This next part of the song is where it gets a little bit more orchestral versus the banjo and guitars at the beginning there. Yeah, I mean, Ashley Ball was really able to hit the high notes in Applejack's voice really well. So here comes the second part of the song, and I really, really like, we'll get there in a second, the string and woodwind part that happens right after this part here. Hold on, my mouse is having trouble responding. What the heck? Come on. Not sure why it's caught on something. There we go. Okay. So this part here, I really like this string and the woodwind part here. And also glockenspiel. And it ends a little bit softer with a lot more orchestra for the end of it there, as we end the past part of the episode.
Fits pretty well.
No, it's not getting long in years. I don't know. I guess it decided to get very laggy for some reason there.
Well, optical mice are pretty tough.
Yeah, I think it might have got caught on a hair. Sometimes it does that. So yeah, the next one is, of course, the present song, sung by Pinky, which is really the first Pinky solo song since 2 seasons and 2 musicals ago in Pinky's musical in season 4. That was really the last time we had a full Pinky solo song. she's of course sung in as part of the rest of the main six and since then, but this is the first solo song we've had for her in quite a while, which is unusual, especially when you compare it to earlier seasons where she was like one of the main singers of the main six, especially at the beginning of the series. So yeah, it's great to have another full, long, extended Pinkie Pie song, and it very much embodies her on it. The song itself is very much kind of like a big band jazz New Orleans style number. It's very, very New Orleans like, except they do add some of the the mandolin and guitar on top of it to kind of give it that MLP flavor. Those are like the two instruments that really signify like an MLP song, especially for Pinkie's songs, and ukulele as well. Which you usually get, especially in Amy Katie Rogers episodes. So they bring all that back here, on top of that jazz ensemble sound that it has. This is actually the first song of the main series that's actually recorded with a live band. So of course, most of the score for the episodes and most of the score for the songs are either virtual instruments that are synthesized on a computer, or they are session players. So they might bring in, like, usually they'll have, they could have someone come in to play the guitars, or the mandolin are usually real instruments in the songs. Usually those are real instruments. But most of the stuff, especially like the score and everything, is all synthesized. But for this one, they actually recorded this with a real band at the same location that they recorded the Christmas album with. The Christmas album was also recorded with a real band as well. So you can really hear that, especially in the horns. The horns and the saxophones really have that really extra good quality of it from the live performance that you can hear from the players actually playing it and adding little improvisations and stuff in terms of inadvertently doing improvisations in terms of the strength of the note and whatnot. So it's really cool, and this is my favorite one to listen to on its own as an instrumental without lyrics, just because of that. So load that up here. Has more of an orchestral intro. Get to the tap dancing part here. Kind of hear that ukulele in the background there. So that's one of my favorite ones to listen to, especially the instrumental. Just
So jazzy.
It's such a fun song.
Yeah.
And just all the little flourishes that the trumpets and saxophones kind of give throughout in the back there. Another thing is it's actually the orchestrator for the songs, Stefan Andrews, who was the song's orchestrator from season 1 through season 4 and left the show after season 4, actually returned for this song to help with the arrangement of the horn section of it. So he returned for that, and he's also working on the songs from the movie now. orchestrator is someone who helps with a lot of the instrumentation of the song. So Daniel Ingram will write the song, the melody, sometimes the lyrics of the song, in its basic form, and add the core instruments on top of it. It's the orchestrator's job to take that and add more to it. So add additional, all the orchestra, all the violin and all the strings and any other kind of flourishes to the song to really plus that. And that's what the orchestrator does. So they put a lot of work. Like if you're listening to like the instrumentals of any of the songs, a lot of that is the work of the orchestrator. So Stefan Andrews was that from season 1 to season 4. Caleb Chan, who's also worked on the series for Ingram on various songs, took over for that for season 5 and this season as well. But Stefan did return to do that for the horns of this song. So I thought I'd mention that, and he'll also work on the movie. So yeah, I guess it's just I don't know. I guess that's just my favorite thing to listen to of all of these instrumentals, just because of just that fun nature of those horns. Yeah, I don't know. Not really much more to say about it. So then we got the final song, which is I think the biggest song for a lot of people, which is of course the Luna song, which of course with her making her being one of the spirits, she of course gets a song. So this one is just amazing in terms of the instrumentation of it and just the presentation of the instrumental for it. Of course, Aloha Steele's voice through it is just phenomenal. I really just like it, especially at the end. So like halfway through the song, the scene switches over to dialogue as Starlight and Luna are talking back and forth between each other, and the scene, the emotion and like the epicness of the scene builds and builds throughout that entire thing, and just the way the score builds during that final instrumental part, which you'll hear here, is really it's some of the best like instrumentation work I've heard in the series, and it just the brass and everything that's involved just builds up in just the right way. So here's the Luna's Future song. And here we get to that instrumental part here at the end. And that just kind of ends there as Starlight kind of wakes up from that nightmare there. So that's just a whole nother level in terms of songs for the show there. Just really well done just overall. So that's all 6 of the songs there for him. So I just again some of the the best songs of the series, and just Ingram always manages to kind of surprise me in terms of the songs that they put out even after 6 years. And also doing a ridiculous amount of songs for Littlest Pet Shop. In addition to Pony. So. Anything else on the musical numbers?
No, you have it. You have it pretty spot on. You're the expert.
It's good musical episode.
It really was.
Oh, well, I always love these musical episodes. They're so fun.
Okay, so next thing is the backing music. So even with all the score numbers, still some backing score in between all of the songs. As with the other past 3 musical episodes that we've had in the past 3 seasons, William Anderson doesn't compose the backing score for those ones. Daniel Ingram and, in this case, Caleb Chen come in to also do the score for the episode in addition to the songs. And for episodes like this that have a ton of songs, it really helps in that respect, just to be able to have all the episode flow together musically, since you're just having these little breaks of dialogue and score in between all the songs. And that also means that they're able to weave the melodies of the songs into the actual score in between the episodes. So you'll hear, after a song happens, you'll hear melodies from that song played in the backing score. And one of the coolest things that's done a lot in musical theater in this is actually kind of foreshadowing melodies from songs that are happening in the future before they happen in the score as well. And that's something that they've always done in these musical episodes that I've really liked, is just that kind of musical foreshadowing that they do in the in the score. So gosh, I don't even know if I'd call this the thing is, like, I really like Crusaders of the Lost Mark, and especially that final song in there, but this is like a whole different, I can't really compare them because they're like 2 different kinds of songs and musicals. I mean, it's like trying to pick your favorite child or something. It's just like they're both good, and they both stand on their own as really good.
Love them both equally.
Yeah, man, Pinky's ones too with Weird Al. I mean, that's also on a completely different level than the past 2 musical numbers have been. So,
Yeah.
gosh, once we get to the hiatus, we'll be talking about the first musical episode, Magical Mystery Cure, as well. So that'll be fun to talk about. So anyway,
Looking forward to that one.
let's go ahead and get to some of the interlude tracks here, which are the score between the songs. We'll start out with the score from directly after the opening song. Of course, the episode opens right away with a song, as most of these in fact, all of the musical episodes so far have. So that's a good way to tell if it's going to be a musical episode. If it opens with a song, it's a good chance. So here we're gonna. This is directly after that first song, so you'll hear a lot of those motifs, so the melodies from that song, in this track. There it is.
Another reprise of first song. Your first heartwarming song.
Mm-hmm. So that melody from the first song sort of becomes the main motif for this episode throughout the episode, especially when anyone is talking about Hearthswarming Eve and Hearthswarming in a positive light. So next we get to Snowfall Frost, which is right as Twilight's beginning to read the story, and directly before the villain song, Snowfall's song in this episode. So it starts out with more of the Hearthswarming Eve melody from the beginning, but then you'll actually start hearing some of that villain song, the Snowfall song, later on in the track, once we actually get to her character and she starts talking, kind of foreshadowing her song before it even happens. And now we're into the story here. One thing I will point out there is when we go into the story, we still have that same melody, but it becomes a little bit more kind of classical in its instrumentation, with some harpsichord and some other stuff that makes it fit the time period that we're going back to even better versus the current time period. So you'll hear that little difference in instrumentation. And that goes right into the villain song there. So you could hear that villain song before it even comes in the backing track there. And then when Dash starts talking kind of positively about Heartswarming there, it drifts back into the melody from the Heartswarming song. Let's see. So the next one is this track directly before and when Pinkie Pie... directly before and when Applejack is appearing, directly before the past song here. So I believe we'll get a little bit of Applejack music. And right there was the little drop of the next song before it happened. And that leads directly into Applejack's song there. Next one is right before Pinkie's song. So again, we'll hear a little bit of that as she appears, and of course the score becomes very frantic as it normally does for Pinkie's score in the series.
What am I supposed to... Don't you mean presents? Fine, presents. All the pointless things that people waste their time on. Oh, Snowball.
So there's that little bit of foreshadowing there, and Pinkie's song starts right away, right after that. Next one is during the when Snowfall and Pinkie are in the present, watching the rest of the town through the window there, and this has like a little extended instrumental version, a little bit instrumental of of Pinkie's song here after the song premieres. So it's a little bit of a slower version of the song here. The spoopy part here with Luna. Shorter track. This leads like directly into her song. This song actually just kind of cuts off suddenly this track cuts off suddenly at the end here, and that's directly where Luna's song begins there. Yeah, I guess kind of ends quickly there because it goes like right into her song begins pretty quickly there. I also know we're gonna run over, so I'll just push Pokemon and stuff back, and we'll we'll save Star for next week. However long we go over. When we scheduled this, it was before we knew it was a musical. So, unfortunately, we have a lot to talk about. So we're getting to the end here of the score, though. Next track is The Story's End, and this is the track from when Starlight, when Snowfall comes in and is apologizing to everyone and saying, that she's been reformed here as in the story. And this leads right to the story when the story's over. Ooh, I forgot to say. The beginning of this, when Snowfall is talking about kind of like understanding the meaning of heartwarming, it's actually a little bit of musical foreshadowing to her solo part at the beginning of the Reprise, which is the next song back in the Equestria world here.
I was wrong earlier about heartwarming heat. Thanks. I was in a hurry. I'll do better next time. No one's ever given me bread in Spoonhill before. It's awesome. Now go get the
And so the story ends there, and so we got one final track back in the actual real world and the Equestria world, not in the book, as Starlight is coming out to join the rest of her friends in Ponyville for the Heartwarming Eve party. And this track leads directly into that final Reprise song. So you'll hear some of that, and you'll hear a little bit of Pinky's song in here as well. That ends really quickly as well, as it goes right into the next song. And so that's the only thing we have left is the credits music, which we after an absence last week, we do have credits music for this one. Initially, I wasn't sure why they chose this song as the credits music until I heard that they actually used the live band to record it. So it kind of gets a little moment to shine on its own with that really good quality of the horns and everything from the live recording here and the credits. And of course, the credits here is just a short part of the instrumental from Pinky's song as well. That's how the episode ends. So definitely a lot to talk about musically for this episode. It's almost like 20 minutes of nonstop music between the songs and the score of it. So a lot of work put into it. And I guess I love in these musical episodes just how we're able to tie the songs and the score from the songs into the score as well in between them and foreshadow and all that kind of stuff. I'm really a big fan of that. And that's something, if you go back to the other musical episodes all the way back to Magical Mystery Cure, you'll hear happening in the score as well, as Ingram also wrote the score in those episodes. So something to kind of listen to if you ever go back and watch those episodes. So, and that's it. That's all the music from this from this episode. So we'll see how long it is before we have another song.
A week, hopefully.
Let's see. Well, next thing is, what does everyone think about the theme and the moral of this episode?
Well, don't really know really much of a moral we've got here, aside from,
It's kind of like the normal thing
I
about
guess.
how present. It's presents aren't the real thing. It's all about getting together and giving stuff
Yeah.
and being with friends and stuff.
It's pretty
Yeah.
much a take on that story, so it's where the story's moral was.
That's true. Yeah. Be happy and joyful, or else Wendigos will freeze everything. I don't know. Also, don't be a dick.
I was about to say, is he going to say it?
Frozen today.
Don't be a dick, and
Yeah. Dick. I get what you. Get out the window. No, I'm just kidding.
One thing I forgot to mention that was mentioned in Equestria Daily's episode follow-up of it was how it kind of subtly ties in with Pinky's part at the beginning of her song, kind of tying in again to the lesson of the gift of the Maud Pie as well, in terms of giving gifts and it being more about the act of giving rather than the gift itself. And so Pinky's lyrics at the beginning of that song actually tie like almost directly back into it. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but kind of tie right back into that when she's singing about, it doesn't matter what the gift is as long as you're giving it from the heart is basically what she's saying at that part of the song.
Right.
yeah, and of course, yeah, don't be a Dickens, yeah. Okay, so let's see, next thing. Whatever favorite parts and any concerns for the episode?
There was a lot of favorite parts. Just a really good episode.
I have to say that this was probably one of my favorite musicals that we've had. Whole thing was just incredible. But I would like to say that one of my favorite parts was basically Pinky tap dancing with with Pip there. Pinky
was that Pip? Yeah, that was Pip. I'm trying to remember. Was that Pip or was that Featherweight?
Oh, it was Featherweight, I think. Yeah, Featherweight. Yeah.
Okay, so Pip, I'm assuming. I think Pip was Tiny Tim then, even though it wasn't explicitly said anywhere in the story. I think Pip was Tiny Tim, which kind of makes sense given his character, I guess. And that was Featherweight then tap dancing.
Yeah. How did I miss him? How did I mistake him for Pip?
I was gonna say Pip too. I completely brain farted. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that part. Twilight at the beginning of the story, kind of like fangasming over Star Swirl. Oh, Twilight.
Oh yeah. Never got to see Star Swirl. Twilight just be like, oh.
Yeah, I favorite parts. I definitely just. I mean, first off, just the story and how they were able to. Yeah, it's it's a story that everyone's heard, everyone's done before. It's kind of like a rite of passage for a show to do a parody of Christmas Carol. But I think they pulled it off really well. They were able to abridge it very, very well. Cutting out, not making it too rushed. It's a big story to get through, especially in 22 minutes, but it didn't feel rushed. They cut out a lot of stuff, but it's stuff that didn't make sense. It's stuff that wasn't important to the story they were actually trying to tell here with Starlight. And so they cut out just the right things, and they were able to work it great. And of course, the music, just all around the music of this episode was just incredible. Applejack's, I really love Applejack's song, especially instrumental. But Pinkie Pie's song has been literally stuck in my head nonstop since Saturday, and I really want to get it out of my head, but I can't. Now it's in my head again. But it's just that, and the fact that they used a live band, and just that whole New Orleans kind of jazzy big band vibe to it with a little bit of Pinky sprinkled on top was just insanely fun to listen to. And of course, Luna's song, just show-stopping song at the end there. I mean, just musically, this was just a really breathtaking episode.
Yeah. A lot of little things I liked. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. The Pinky. What was it? I can't remember. I see the animation with Applejack passing through Starlight, the Viola and Octavia appearance in the story. Just Pinky's appearance. Luna being the Ghost of Future. Well, it really was a really good episode all around. Can't
I
really
think
pick a favorite part.
I mean, I think overall, because one of my favorite parts of it is just the obvious amount of effort that was put into making this episode what it was by just like everyone, every level of the staff. It wasn't just like some episodes where you can say, oh man, they really put a lot of work into, the animators really put a lot of work into this, or the story or whatever. It was literally, you can tell that every single person that touched this episode put a lot of work and extra work into this, from all the new locations and all the character costumes and the ridiculous amounts of music. And just the story, trying to work the story into 22 minutes. It's just, you can tell that they really put a lot of work into this, into making what it was.
Yes, agreed.
See, and that's the thing with Tiny Tim, Dark, is he's removable from this if you replace him with something else. And they replaced Tiny Tim with just... That's kind of what they did. They replaced Tiny Tim with the Grinch aspect of it, where Starlight's trying to actively do a spell that takes away Hearth's warming. Where in the original story, a lot of it has to do with Scrooge seeing Tiny Tim and Tiny Tim not making it in the future, and that makes him become very philanthrop. I don't know how to make that into that tense, but it makes him really want to help Tiny Tim, and of course seeing himself die and not knowing how much longer he has, he wants to make the most out of that. So Tiny Tim is a big part of the original story, but they were able to remove him from it and remove all that other story aspect and side story from this by kind of replacing it with this Grinch thing of her trying to stop Hearth's warming.
Yeah. I was actually kind of curious where he was, Tiny Tim was.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of the more iconic things of the original story.
I think they went with a mixed story, and it probably, in one way, that was kind of a better original than just a complete,
Yeah, definitely.
complete Christmas Carol ripoff or whatever.
Yeah.
Still familiar, but not repetitive.
Yeah. We also get a little bit different kind of backstory to seeing, how Snowfall kind of became what she was in terms of Professor Flintheart influencing her at that young age. I've seen this episode way too many times since last Saturday myself. I think I've lost count.
If you want to make a taco, go right ahead.
So, finally, it's just overall feelings and conclusions from everyone for this episode.
One of the best episodes we've seen yet.
Yes, one of the best of the season. Probably the best of the season.
Yeah, they weren't lying when they said that they were thought this was probably one of their best, because they really pulled it off really well. And now, I mean, I saw a lot of people hating on it just because it was a story. Of course, it's been told a billion times already, but for Christmas Carol retellings, it's all about the execution, and they really nailed the execution. Yeah, we know what the story is, but they nailed the execution of it so well, especially in the time frame.
Yes.
It's just like after 6 seasons and this show can still deliver an episode like this that just catches me completely off guard by just how good it is.
Oh, agreed. I mean, 6 seasons is still very watchable, which is rare for a cartoon to go that. I mean, I don't know many cartoons that go that far and stay good, stay watchable after that long. Actually, most cartoons don't last 6 seasons.
Yeah. Most ones would stop after the 52, or are lucky if they get one more season after that.
Yeah, or they turn into SpongeBob or Fairly Odd Parents or something where it's back on and just given no thought to the episode. They just pump out the show for other means, but apparently the show is
Still good after 6 seasons, even though it's just selling toys. But
Yeah, that's the like most ironic thing of all is this is literally a show to sell toys, and that's the kind of show you would expect to get very old very quickly if there was any effort put into it at all. But no, I mean it's just a mix of the staff of the show is really into the show, and it's really like the support they get from the fandom most of the time, and just they really take a lot of pride in it and trying to give the best that they can give, even if you don't necessarily like an episode. I mean, I don't think there's any episode where they've dropped the ball of not giving a fuck on whether or not it panned out good in the end. I think Big Jim get a good post on that a few days ago about it. Like, hey, even if you don't like the episode, it's understandable, but just know that every episode has a lot of work that's still put into it. We don't take our colorful equines lightly for it. But yeah, just I think it's a mixture between just the amount of pride the staff has in the show and what they're able to do, and also just how they've been able to mix things up both staff wise and canon wise. Like, so they're not afraid to bring on new staff and new writers. We got a lot of new writers the past 3 seasons. And a lot of them have been really good and have stayed on and become new. I mean, even like Josh Haber was a new writer in season 4, and now he's running the show, story-wise. So, just again, keeping that, getting new people in, getting new ideas, making sure that, they understand the series. And then also just not being afraid to switch the series up, whether it's Twi'lek or the CMC getting their Cutie Marks, Rainbow Dash, becoming a Wonderbolt, etc., or Starlight, of course, and bringing her on and reforming her and bringing her on as almost one of pretty much the main cast. They're not afraid to do stuff like that to keep the show, fresh.
no,
Okay. Well, with that, I think that's... Any other final words from anyone tonight?
Words.
Yeah, I gotta go eat.
Yeah, it's like we gotta get to our nightly programming. So, well, thank you all so much for coming and participating with this extended Triple E. Definitely wasn't expecting a musical episode this week, but we got it, and yeah, a lot to talk about. So thanks for joining us. Next week we will be talking about I forget the name of the title, but I know it's a parody of Parks and Recreation. Saddle Row and Wreck. Yeah. Saddle Row and Wreck is this weekend's episode. So join us next week again at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here on Triple E, and we'll be talking about that then.